Let's jump to the story. We have the tweet from Libs of TikTok. Holy smokes. TikToker is advising illegals on how to take over Americans' homes via progressive squatters' rights laws. This TikToker boasts that his friends already took over 7 homes. Unreal. Now, speaking Spanish, I don't know. There's an English translation, I guess. We can play the video. Oh, we love X. Let's play the video, and then the video freezes, because that's what X does.
He pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo que ese será mi próximo negocio. Invadir casas abandonadas. Ya que me he buscado unos códigos con mis amigos africanos. Y me dijeron que ya llevan como 7 casas expropiadas. Y como dice el dicho, papi, hay que buscar la vuelta. Y la vuelta ahorita mismo es invadir casas. Ya que nos encontramos en situación de calle. Y es la única manera que tenemos para no vivir en la calle y no ser una carga pública. Capichi, la ley dice que las casas abandonadas, deterioradas y que esté en mal estado, podemos llegar y repararlas, vivir en ellas y si podemos venderlas. Hasta pedir créditos con ella.
Okay, so I don't speak Spanish. I only I could understand about half of what he was saying.
Same.
The top section in writing on the video says, we could invade houses in the U.S. What do you think of the new law? And you got a guy basically saying, yo, let's go and take these houses.
Well, I think this is actually a good opportunity for me to push back against the open borders crowd and the libertarian movement. There is this perception amongst many in the open borders libertarian movement that every migrant is just someone looking for a better life, that ultimately, if they were to be here, they would have and uphold our values, and that's as simple as it gets, and they ought to have all of the same rights that we do, human rights and whatnot. I am a firm believer that the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, does not grant us the right to self-defense. I do think that it is a universal human right. However, you do not have a right. Not all 7 billion people on the planet have a right to be an American, and therefore, not all 7 billion people have a right to come to America well armed. That looks like an invasion to me, and as a domestic, born and bred person, I think it's fair to perceive it that way, particularly when you have gentlemen like this that are coming across the border saying, I intend to seize your homes.
So for people who weren't watching, there is a translation, but I'll give you the gist of it. Dane hit me up. He speaks Spanish, his first language. Dane. He's saying there's a law you can steal someone's house if they're not in it. And then he says his next business will be to invade houses, since some African friends of his have already done it 7 times. It's the only way to get by and not be in the streets. Steal them, fix them, and resell them.
He said something about his right of return, he mentioned.
Something like that,
Did you hear
yeah.
him say that?
Land invasion.
Crazy.
Honestly, I look forward to hearing the news. These people are going to go to New York. It's insanely easy when we look at that woman who got arrested and take nothing they're going to be able to do about it. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to go to a cell phone store. They're going to say, yo, give me a cell phone. And they say, what's your address? And they're going to tell them the address. And they say, okay. Then they're going to say, email me the bill. They get emailed the bill and the receipt with the address on it. Boom, just like that.
Yep.
Now they can go to the place and say, I have a receipt from 1 month ago. See, I live here.
Yeah.
That's it. They can get an Airbnb, pay rent to the Airbnb, get a cell phone, and then go to the Airbnb, stand outside, call the cops and say, I've been unlawfully evicted. Can you open the door?
Right.
And they'll, okay.
Well, and then, the obvious next step, and this once again plays into Cloward Piven, is that amnesty is not far off. I mean, you have to...
You got to explain Cloward Piven.
Yeah, who's that?
Cloward Piven, it was a political strategy that was formulated in the 1960s by 2 gentlemen named Cloward and Piven that they ultimately... I
believe you're correct.
Oh, really?
This was the thing Charlie
thought it was.
Kirk
Francis
and
Fox
James
Piven is a
Lindsay
woman.
were both
Okay, sorry,
tweeting
not
about
gentlemen.
recently.
My mistake.
Yeah.
But anyways, the concept was that in order to collapse the system and overwhelm it, to create, it plays right into Marxism, communism, that in the ashes you can create whatever you wish. So the way that you create the ashes is to overwhelm the system. You overwhelm it from multiple fronts, including debt, finance, manipulation of the currency, and ultimately, abdication of duty when it comes to defending property rights, things of that nature.
You overwhelm every element of the system to where the system can't hold anything anymore, and the system collapses.
What the British tried to do to the Chinese at the end of the 1800s too. What the Boxer Rebellion was all about. They were like, get out, stop shipping opium into our country, you're killing us.
And I think it's really important for people to understand that illegal immigration has been an issue our entire lifetimes, but when you look at the historical averages throughout, the Bush administration all the way into the Clinton administration, we're now talking about figures that are 10x what they were on average. That is not organic. And if you actually look at
it's definitely not
it's
organic.
not organic, but people continue to talk about this as if these people are just here looking for a better life. Look, that doesn't happen organically. It hasn't happened until now. You have to ask yourself why. If you look at the United Nations, if you look at the funding, the United States taxpayer is being robbed to fund the United Nations, which then turns around and hands out cell phones and maps and financial support to this migrant caravan operation that is ran by these NGOs to get these people here. The reason that it's north of 3 million annually and increasing is because it's an op that's being ran. If you look at the United Nations plans when it comes to Agenda 2030 and all of the things that play into the World Economic Forum, this is not organic. And until people are willing to have that conversation, until people to realize that this is not just happening out of the blue, if you look at what's happened in Europe, if you looked at the crime rates that are increasing, all of this is coming for America. And it's like, I feel like people are sleepwalking right into it.
The other thing too that I think people don't realize is that you can, if you're a would-be illegal immigrant, you can download an app that was manufactured by the Biden administration called CBP One, and it's an app where you can request an appointment to present yourself at a land port of entry to enter illegally. You can do that. You can make an appointment. And the Biden administration also in 2023, they said that their plan was to double the number of refugees from the Western Hemisphere and would commit to welcoming thousands of additional refugees per month from the Western Hemisphere, the goal of doubling. And it was, where were they? It was Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Haiti were part of the expanded parole process announced to accept up to 30,000 individuals per month from those nations.
Wow.
That is their plan. They said it. They put it on their website.
And if
they said this is their plan. It's not just the United Nations. It's literally the Biden administration telling everybody that this is the plan. Like you saw after Biden was elected, there were people lining up at the border with "Thank you, Joe Biden" t-shirts on.
Well, and keep in mind that the United Nations is predominantly funded by the United States of America. So any plan that they have that they're pushing is ultimately still being dictated to a certain extent by U.S. government officials, and vice versa. It's a kind of a two-way street. But the reality is that if you actually look at the language that they're using when they're talking about equity. They're talking about all of the same woke nonsense that we're all pushing back against in the United States of America. This is a global plan to bring about equity when it comes to nations. They want to have the poorest amongst us in all over the world. It is now our duty, because we've had it too good for too long. We now have to have these people come here so that they can benefit from the institutional wealth and success that we've had in America. I reject that entirely. I am not a globalist. I still believe that there is something to be said for meritocracy. If you want to uphold what made America great, including property rights and capitalism, you're going to have to reject this open borders nonsense. And if you don't, if you refuse that path, you will end up in a socialist hellhole. And that is exactly what the LP of Louisiana and any of these open borders libertarians are advocating on behalf of. And I'm going to lose a hell of a lot of support for saying this, but I am telling the goddamn truth.
You are in the Anna Kasparian camp where you're saying, if this is what it means to be a libertarian, I'm not a libertarian anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And
we don't have a token libertarian to be like, no, you're okay. You can still be a libertarian.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? That's fine. If they want to reject me, there will be the delegates will decide end of May if my perception of these matters is in alignment with their belief system. Murray Rothbard had a very similar revelation in the 1990s. He realized that the USSR had used illegal immigration to flood, Eastern Bloc nations to topple them. I believe strongly that's what we're witnessing. If a libertarian is going to advocate on behalf of open borders when that is in alignment with globalist plans that are being pushed by government institutions all over the world against the American people, then you have lost the plot. Yeah, you have lost your mind.
You mentioned that the UN is part of this 2030 agenda thing where they're involved with funding the migrants. And that you said that the United States is the biggest funder of the UN, but I think I take issue with that only in that it's the banks, it's the global banking establishment using the US dollar through the Federal Reserve, through the Bank for International Settlements to pump the UN and screw the people of the United States, because American constitutionalism is in the way of oligarchy. It's blocking the technocracy that's trying to control the planet.
Right. Oh, I agree. These are supranational institutions, but at their core, though, they uphold values that I find totally reprehensible. I'm not interested in globalism. I am not interested in socialism or globalism, and these people push that through every lever of power you can imagine.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.